Now the front sprocket is here, but if you're as wise as me, you might notice a small issue. I can't get there. But wait, Suzuki thought of this. You have to remove this panel. How do you remove it? It's plastic, it's probably welded. No. Suzuki thought of that too. You grab some tools. Now you might be wondering, well, how am I going to remove it? I don't have Suzuki calibrated tools. No, you tool. Halfords do. I don't have to undo loads of these. See, this is one of the benefits, I guess, of having race fairings, which I am, if I do like it, this track day like, which I think I will. We will be getting some race fairings. I've already been in contact with someone, actually. All of this is being done very much on a budget. There's certain things I think, you have to sort of spring for a bit. Safety things, like I might have to replace the brake master cylinder. I'm not going to risk stuff like that. Like I said before, I don't have massive confidence in the brake master cylinder, and stuff like that is probably something you should invest in. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to take this panel off and I'll be back. It's the next day. The reason why it's the next day is because I made, not an error, because I don't do stuff like that, but I did make a slight mistake in that I totally forgot that in order to remove the front sprocket, you need the sprocket not to move, obviously, and I've already removed the chain, so there's no other way of stopping that front sprocket from moving other than putting it in gear and stuff, which is not something you should do. So I need to go get my impact gun, and my impact gun was being borrowed. But now I have my impact gun, and we shall continue. First of all, I need some more gloves. I'm going through gloves like they're given away in cornflakes packets. But they are not. These are paid for items. Now I don't know why, but you can see there that they've got a dual nut system. Well, I know why, so it doesn't come off. So you've got this sort of outer nut and then the inner nut, and the outer nut is just a hex by the look of it. So I'll quickly buzz that off. Okay, so we've got the sprocket off. Now, you may notice that I've done that without a chain on. That's not the right way of doing it. And the right way of doing it is either with a clutch holding tool on the other side and hold it in place, with a chain on and your foot on the rear brake. And that's it really. Those are the ways of doing it. You shouldn't be doing it any other way. So I'm not going to share the way I did it. It wasn't using a socket to jam it against a swinging arm. So don't even suggest that. I find that really offensive actually. There's a fair size difference. And the other is obviously that one's a lot thicker than that one. But we do have like an extra thickness added onto the portion that goes onto the actual spline. So I'm going to measure the size of both. Okay, so new one goes 1 moment cooler on. This is the worst chain riveting tool money can buy. New chain. Again, if you're doing this, leave the old chain on as long as you can. Then you can stick a cable tie through them and drag it through nice and easily. Didn't do that. That would be too easy. This is your rivet link. Put that to one side. You don't need those, you just use a cable tie. Don't do that. Now, I did buy a chain that was too large on purpose. I wasn't quite sure how many links I would need, so I ended up going overzealous and making sure that I had enough. Because obviously the worst thing would be if you didn't have enough, that would not then fit. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to knock off these chain adjusters on both sides. So I've got an idea of how much adjustment I can have. Obviously as a track bike, there's every eventuality that I am going to change sprockets at some point for different tracks. Probably won't be able to go any bigger on the rear than that. Do you know what? We're about midpoint. I might just cut it there. About midpoint on both sides. Yeah, we are. So the chain is now on. It's a bit tighter than it should be at the moment, but I've literally just adjusted the wheels to the back wheel straight and just made sure everything's okay. All feels fine to me. I'm now just going to do up this front sprocket. Just going to double check the front sprocket torque value, 112. Okay, so I've now torqued up the rear wheel and the front sprocket, but I am noticing we've got quite a bit of drag. And that's with the rear wheel torqued to 100 Newton meters, which is what it's meant to be. So something's not quite right here. Now I'm 99.9% sure I've put all the spacers and everything back in right, so I'm not any concern about that. The only thing I can think it could be is that rear caliper. So let's whip that rear caliper off and just see if it's any better with the caliper off. Right, that's that one out. Pop that off. There you go. So, let's add another job to the list. I don't know if you can see that then, but basically when now the caliper's off, spins absolutely fine. Stuff like that I always find it's weird it's not been picked up on an MOT. And then I remember it doesn't have one. And I think actually, that probably explains it. I've splayed out the chain, don't know if I mentioned that, that's all done to specification. It was 0.217 inches is what it required, and I did that. The front sprocket's done up. I'm going to put a daub of paint on the front sprocket. This goes in here. If anyone's here, and I'm not here, and you're wondering where does this bit of metal go, it goes in this blue cabinet. Alright? I don't expect to see it out now. Now I'm pretty sure I talked that up right. Do I double check it? I don't know what it is with me and anxiety about stuff like that, but I just can't do it. It's gotta be done right. There we go, 180 meters. And we know we're gonna go to 115. This is part of budget bike life. It's always something. It does explain why it felt very slow the last time I rode it, to be honest. Because the rear brake was stuck on. Honestly, can't make it up, can you? You can't make it up. Click, that was the torque. Right, that goes back on there. I said that goes back on there, please. Thank you. I think the thing is with doing stuff yourself on your bike, as long as you're aware of the risks. Like I know that if I mess this up completely, turn 1 at Castle Combe is going to be a really bad day for me. As long as I know that, I think you're fine. Take this bolt here out. This is the coolant reservoir, which sits up here. Take that up reasonably well. Pop me... Oh god, which way up did this go? Well, I'll only be race shift, won't it? Because I've never used race shift before and I'd probably spondule it. Because of my condition, I have thought about going to race shift, but I think it would be harder. I've got very limited ankle mobility, so I think race shift and stuff like that, because I'm so used to going up the box, and I've sort of got a bit of muscle memory there to go up and down. I actually take my whole leg off and I tap down with my whole leg. So I don't think race shift would suit me very well. Don't know why I'm making such effort with this. They're probably going to come off again in like 3 days. So, time this video comes out, it'll probably all already be done. But tomorrow, day after tomorrow, sorry, I'm taking the Super Duke for a remap. It's had some modifications over the holiday period. Nothing too crazy, but a few little choice bits that I've done. And it required a remap after that, because it would no longer run reliably. To be honest, it's one of those things you go, oh yeah, that's a great idea. Oh, it's quite cheap as well. And you do it, and then you're like, oh, and then this person's got to be paid, and this person's got to be paid, and oh, it's actually not that cheap. Well, if you've watched this far, you deserve a reward. I don't have one, but you do. I really appreciate everyone watching this. This is going to be my first, probably of many, one of many workshop vlogs. Because there is going to be a fair amount more to do on this, obviously, as we just found out. We now need to do the rear brake and stuff, so there will be more. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll try and start it. That'll be your little treat. How about that, eh? And then this weekend, I'm working on the Ninja. So you never know, I might cut some brake lines to get myself a bit of extra time on Cadwell Park.